As I was saying, I said the structure of reporting to this man was wrong. Apart from the fact that there were issues unresolved, we have reported him severally, and he was not doing it to me. After I left that company, several months after, I read everything I was saying. I read it on the newspaper that this man was using artificial intelligence to respond to questions, that he had no knowledge of the subject matter, and I was fighting everybody. They mentioned names. Part of the names I mentioned when I was going, I did a goodbye mail, and I shared my experience, and people that were also crying like me, I mentioned their names. The same names, 90% of them, I read it also in the newspaper. The management was aware they did nothing. So I had to resign. Yoruba will say, in my town, kọ̀rọ̀ ayé ó yá ju kọ̀rọ̀ ọ̀run. It is better to be alive than to die. A living dog is better than a dead lion. And because that was what they wanted, some funny thing played out after I resigned. For instance, immediately I resigned, this lady, the HR lady who brought me to that office, when they redeployed me from reporting to this man, 5 months before then, when they took me to an elderly man that I was reporting to before, that was when this lady relocated me from the floor that I was, the same floor with that man, relocated me to another floor. They call it executive floor, where they gave me the 10x6 toilet size service. This lady, immediately after I resigned, returned me again to my previous office where that man used to sit. That same office where me and my deputy were squeezed. At the time they squeezed me and my deputy, 2 years before then, at the time they squeezed us there were 3 vacant offices. 2 to our right and 1 to our left. One of the offices at my right, one of the 2 offices, one of them was to be occupied by a man who headed a subsidiary. The man never appeared there. The man said he was not interested. One was for a replacement of a lady who resigned shortly before we relocated to that place. The replacement they have not hired. The replacement they have not interviewed. They kept office for him. There was another one to my right. Somebody that they wanted to hire to head IT. They kept office for him. They didn't want to give me office. They wanted to keep me in an open space. It was one elderly man that said no before they now gave me an office. When they gave me that office, I asked for my deputy's office. The status table and the chair in that office they gave me. In fact, it was for somebody. The person was taken to another floor. That was when they now gave me that office. They now withdrew the tables and the status chair. They replaced it with 2 small tables and chairs to accommodate me and my deputy. That was the office the same lady was now returning me to. My friend, my deputy has now been taken to a bigger office. So I will now be the only one in that office with 2 tables. And that was not even the problem. And now, as at that time, I had not developed a phobia for that floor and for that man. And I said, no, give me another office. I had resigned, I had given them 2 months. They could not wait for me to go out of, high-level conspiracy to frustrate me. That office where they were removing me from the toilet size, all the executives, they used to come there to come and see the MD. They pass in front of me. None of them complained. None of them ever scolded the lady. None of them ever raised it that what you did to this man was bad. Now, after resignation, they could not wait for me to go. I gave them 2 months. They now brought a woman to come and replace me. They said they just promoted the woman to a manager. you'll be reporting to the elderly man. Whereas what they told us was that the people on that floor were people reporting to the MD. If you are not reporting to the MD direct, you have a dotted line reporting to the MD. Apart from the people in finance who were sitting on that floor for strategic reason, every other person, if you don't have anything to do with the MD, you are not supposed to be there. So somebody who had no reason to be there, my junior, now easy to replace me. Meanwhile, in that floor, that executive floor, where they gave me a toilet size office, there were other two vacant offices. One was opposite the head of finance, one was beside my deputy to the right. I was by myself, deputy to the left. So one was beside him to the right, where they could have put the woman. After I left, they hired a man. It was the one at the right of my deputy that they gave him. They still continue discrimination and frustration against me after resignation. I couldn't bear it. I couldn't go to that 7th floor. I was scutting around. I even had to go to a meeting room in one of my scutting around. Somebody, one procurement manager, former procurement manager, who had an issue to schedule with me because I was stopping from illegal money making. His vendors were part of the vendors we blacklisted. He had not forgiven me. He came to send me out of that office. I had done a report where I exposed so many fraud when he was the procurement manager. After that, the MD sought me and was telling me to see him a month plus after I resigned. I saw him and I was expecting him to address all my complaints because he said he would address it. I didn't hear from him, only for me to see a mail asking me to come for an exit meeting. I went to the HR lady. I said, I've discussed with the MD. The next thing I saw after some time was that another mail from a single lady, that the MD has directed that I must attend the interview. Fine, I had to attend the interview, where I explained everything, all the frustration I was passing through, the persecution I was passing through. I'm talking of IS audit challenges. Now, something happened. On the day, my last day, that was when they sent me a mail that I should withdraw my resignation, that they will convert me to temporary staff. I will now become a contract staff. They said, you value my contribution. They said, they agreed that I was deserving of a status car. They will give me after 3 months when they do appraisal for me. The appraiser will now determine whether I will get it. What they have given to my colleagues, junior colleagues, a long time. As at that time, they had done grade change. They changed the grading system. They said I was now a senior manager. By policy, senior manager was entitled to a car. A year before then, you never gave me. You are now saying that I will do appraisal. That if I didn't pass the appraisal after the 3 months, they would repeat it in the 4th month. And when they repeat it in the 4th month, they will be doing it to determine the eligibility of my work status. They'll be doing it to, determine my work status. Meaning that they knew where they were going. They understood, they agreed that there were gaps. They actually wanted to close those gaps within the 3 months and now use appraiser to send me out, because they've done it before. They did it to a developer, they did it to a man who they terminated his contract. A high-performing man, one honorable, they did it to him. So when I saw that, I knew where they were going. And I responded to address all these things. I said, well, If you say I should withdraw my my resignation letter, I don't have an issue. But if you want to convert me to a contract, let my resignation stay. Let's discuss the terms of my contract. If you want me to withdraw it, I will withdraw it, but I won't be a contract. And I told them about their person. I said I knew I cannot underperform. I can't disappoint. I addressed so many things they raised. Like I told you in other classes. I was waiting for them to call me so that we discuss all those things I raised. Only for them to send me a letter, threat mail, asking me to accept their ridiculous terms within 24 hours. They even mentioned there that I would not challenge the structure. I said, I've never challenged the structure. When I came, you told me during one of my interviews that I will report to the MD. When I came, I was reporting to one elderly man, IS audit person, an auditor reporting to an head of operation. I never complained. I was performing. I never challenged them. It was under him that I won so many awards. At some point, they made me to be reporting to my junior. My junior, we were two teams reporting to that head of operation, that man, a business consultant. Yeah? We were two teams. The other team was headed by somebody who was lower to me in grade. When they pull us out of reporting to that man, I was made to be reporting to this woman. I never complained. I was performing until when they brought these oppressors that I was fighting everybody. I still never complained. The man was just fighting based on what he heard. There was a report that indicted him. So I'm talking about IS audit challenges. Otherwise, one would just have died working